I would like to introduce up Jim Polonis of Sutton County Groundwater Conservation District to introduce to you our wonderful lunch keynote. Welcome, Jim. You just have to hold that.
All right.
I'm going to stand with you.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Good afternoon, everyone. Isn't this a great summit? Yeah. And, you know, people are responsible for putting this on. And I think we ought to recognize Sarah, Beth, Andrea, and will the planning committee please stand? Come on, don't be shy. All right, a lot of people put in a lot of effort to make this happen, and I think they deserve a big hand. Now we're going to learn something about Mesonets, Texas Mesonets, from Dr. Leon Greene. His educational background is atmospheric and environmental science. He holds a master's degree in meteorology from the University of Utah and a doctorate in environmental science from Jackson State University. Areas of expertise are in tropical meteorology, hurricanes, air quality, ground level ozone, informal science education and outreach to underrepresented areas. He is currently a member of the American Meteorological Society Board of Women and Minorities. Dr. Greene is an active researcher, grant writer, National Science Foundation grant recipient, and reviewer. Additionally, he works on numerous outreach activities with local schools, serving as mentor and advisor. Excuse me while I unfold this paper. Dr. Greene is a former Jackson State University professor and current hydrologist, meteorologist on the Texas Mesonet program within the Groundwater Technical Assistance Program of the Water Science and Conservation Division for the Texas Water Development Board. As part of the Groundwater Technical Assistance Program work group, his skill set is currently being utilized to design and implement statewide Mesonet called TexMesonet, as well as to conduct research, manage public outreach, and develop and execute strategies for the Mesonet program. He was born and raised on the Caribbean island of St. Kitts. It's a little place out in the middle of the Caribbean, and came to the United States to attend college in Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi, where he met his wife and has now been married for 10 years. Dr. Greene is an avid soccer fan, but not a soccer hooligan, an environmentalist, but not a tree hugger, and an accomplished woodworker. Please welcome Dr. Greene.
That's fine. So, good afternoon. It is an honor to be here, especially talking to audience that, in a sense, understand the importance of water usage from a socioeconomic and environmental standpoint, and not just from what I would say a local or district level, but from a regional and, in a sense, state level. So it's an honor to be here. Jim, good friend. Haven't known him too long, but consider him a great friend. I'm not too sure if what he described is actually me. So you might have to forgive him for that, but I try my best. That's the best I can say. So with that, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about TexMesonet, what it is, why I think it is important to you guys, and how we all can work together to benefit the state overall and all Texans. One, it's lunchtime. If you happen to hear a strange voice coming from the podium, that's probably your dinner plates making all that noise over the barbecue. So it's not really the accent you're hearing. And the other side of it is that I'm going to try to keep you entertained. I know it's lunch, we're hungry, but I kind of really want you to hear what's going on. So TexMesonet, Mesonet. What is a Mesonet? In simple terms, it's a bunch of weather stations that analyze localized conditions. Thunderstorms, dry lines. Oh, guess I'm a little bit too far ahead of myself. It's skipping a few things. Let's hope. Is it? Okay, yes. Why do we need Mesonets? Help us improve weather forecasts, right? Help us improve floods, help us improve drought monitoring, irrigation scheduling, water usage, recreational, real-time data for schools. There's a lot of things that we can do with Mesonets. Who has been doing Mesonets, and why do we want to put one in Texas? Oklahoma. This is Texas. Why should we have Oklahoma being, as it says, the standard bearer? I mean, isn't the motto in Texas bigger and better? So we need to do better than that. Oklahoma, been around for a very long time, 121 stations where you have at least one in every county. 77 counties, Texas, 254 counties. You see the problem. West Texas have been doing it since 1999. But remember, this is Texas. It's really big. And one entity covering the whole of Texas, I mean, that's a lot of driving. I don't know how many of you have driven from Austin to El Paso, driven from Austin to Corpus Christi. That's almost a day's drive. So imagine an entity trying to do a Mesonet over the whole of Texas. That's probably another reason why nobody has done it up to now. But West Texas have tried. They're still doing it. Right now they have approximately 96 stations covering 61 counties. 60 out of 254, you see they got a lot more to go. And that's since 1999. What's that, almost 20 years now? So it's a big task to do a Mesonet in Texas. But here comes the new guys. We're going to do it bigger and do it better, and we're going to cover the whole state in a shorter period of time, hopefully. So why are we retaking this challenge, right? I mean, other entities have tried it. West Texas have tried it. Why are we undertaking this challenge again? Population is continuing to increase. More lives are being put at risk, right? Weather is ever changing. Frequency of storms is continuing to change. The intensity of storms is continuing to change. It's just weather. Weather patterns are shifting. The frequency and intensity are changing. And we need to be able to monitor those changes. And not just monitor them on a broad scale, but monitor them on a localized scale. Meaning, most of you know that rainfall in one half of your district could be completely different to rainfall in another half. But if you look at the data, you have one data point that tells you rainfall for my district is 2 inches. But you know your neighbor 2 miles over or 2 miles down the road has completely different measurements. We want to fix that problem. So what is the goal of TexMesonet? We want to finish that whole water cycle. The Texas Water Development Board, before TexMesonet, monitored and observed data for groundwater and surface water. Now TexMesonet is in to complete it by looking at the atmosphere. So now you can see how much water is in the atmosphere, how much is on the surface, and how much is in the ground. So you get the whole cycle and all the data that goes with it. We also understand the difficulty of Texas itself. So we're not doing it by ourselves where other people have already been in existence. Why not get them part of the whole picture? It's not about kicking anybody out. It's not saying that you're better than them. Why not incorporate everybody? Work as a group. So there are existing entities within Texas that has Mesonets. For example, the river authorities. Some of the GCDs have their own networks, meaning, yes, you do them manually, but it's your own network. Why not bring all these networks into a system where we can get the data and everybody can utilize it? Not having to call up my neighbor and ask him, oh, can I get your rainfall data? Can I get your temperature data? It's in one place. The other side of it is forecasting. We all would like better forecasts. We would all like better warnings, better watches for tornadoes, thunderstorms, flash floods. We all want these better forecasts. But to get these better forecasts, we need better data. And yes, there's a lot of data out there, but the people who make those decisions don't have the type of data that they need. Meaning you need accurate data, you need reliable data. And that's where we try to come in. That is where the TexMesonet program hopes to make an impact, is providing the right type of data to the people who needs to make the decisions to impact your lives on a day-to-day basis. So what is the issue? Why TexMesonet? Why now? This is what Texas looks like currently. A lot of data points, whole bunch. Right now there's over 3,000 data points in Texas. But on any given day, is only about half of those data points are actually utilized, or actually is available to be utilized. And of that half, probably only 20% is usable by the people who make decisions. The reason being, what networks make up those data points? What are the networks that make up those networks? Most of those data points are the average user, meaning the people like you who have a rain gauge on your fence, that have a rain gauge in your backyard. It's you. The problem is, just like I said, it's a rain gauge on a fence, it's a rain gauge in your backyard. It gives you data, but it doesn't give you the data that the people who make decisions need. And that's the problem. And then it's, how often do you check that data? Once a day? Can you check it every hour? That's the problem. Decisions need to be made quickly and fast. This is where I like to bring it down to the GCD level, meaning your district, your county, your region. There are 44 counties within Texas that have no observational point, meaning your forecast comes from somebody else's county. I don't think that's right. That's just my opinion. If you think that's correct, I mean, anybody in here think that's why you can put up your hand? Probably not. So part of our job is to fix this. Everybody should have at least one observational point in their county. At least one. That's a minimum. That's one of the goals of TexMesonet, is to put at least one observational point in every county. The other problem being, as you can see, 49% of the state has at least 3 observational sites in a county. Most of the sites are concentrated within metropolitan areas. So places like Dallas has no problem, Houston, San Antonio, no problem. But what about Cook County, Sutton County, Pecos County? I mean, they're just as important. So that distribution is what we need to fix and reduce the disparity in observational points. And TexMesonet hopes to do that. This is what it actually looks like. If you see your county, I mean, that should definitely identify you as having a problem. Those white squares, not colored area in the Texas map is probably one of you. And I'm sure there's probably, 5, 6, 10 of you in here that fit into those white counties. That's not right. I'm just letting you know. I'm just, if you think it's white, you need to tell me. Because it could just mean that TexMesonet doesn't need to go there. But I want to go there. That's the key thing. TexMesonet want to go to those places and fix that problem. This is the other side of it. Rainfall. If you know weather, if you know the environment, does weather stop out in West Texas? Does West Texas not get any rainfall? Right? I'm glad that my audience is engaged. That means you've had a good lunch. So I'm glad that you're engaged. Keep it up. But that's the question is, does West Texas not get any rainfall? Does the southern Texas not get any rainfall? I think they do. As a meteorologist, I know they do. But why is it we have no observations? Why is it that we're lacking observational point? Why? I mean, that's probably a question beyond me, right? But I'm sure each and every one of you in here can come up with a reason as to why. This is what we're trying to fix, is that we want to get that data because we know that data is important. From a forecaster standpoint, from a meteorologist standpoint, just from you living in that area, you know how important it is. Even if it's just 1 inch of rain, that goes into your total where you may be getting 12, 17 inches a year. It is important because it tells you what you can do, what mitigations you need to put in place. It is important. And having that data, there's nothing better than having data. I would assume that, let's start over. I'm new to Texas. Remember I told you that strange voice coming from the podium? I'm new to Texas. One of the things I've learned in Texas is that we like to do things ourselves, right? We do not like to depend upon the federal system or anything else. But Texas like to be able to say, we can do it. And I believe that's a motive that everybody likes to do. We can do it. This is the federal system that governs most of the forecasts for Texas. I mean, you can see there's places in the Panhandle where federal system isn't there. And your forecast that you rely on every morning to tell you it's going to be 80 degrees, chance of showers, depend upon that. Again, the question, is that correct? Oh, come on. Please. Oh. See, I need to get my audience more back engaged. You guys are starting to get into that sleepy phase of too good of a barbecue. Yeah. Next time we need to tell the organizers they need to cut down on the quality of the food. Maybe then you'll be more engaged. Okay, so where are we? I'm talking about TexMesonet. Where are we? Why should you consider thinking about TexMesonet? Why do you think you should be engaged with TexMesonet? Right now, we have 13 stations up. Those 13 stations are in 7 counties. We're only about 1 year old, so we haven't been able to do too much. We have 10 counties that we have approval for, meaning that's 10 more counties that's off the map. That's 10 counties that maybe were white, but are no longer going to be white. And then we have another 5 counties that we've made contact with. But I can bet you there are GCDs in here that I haven't seen yet, and there are GCDs in here who haven't talked to me yet. So if I'm looking at you, don't look back at me. But I need to talk to you. And hopefully before the end of today, maybe tomorrow, we can talk. Because I need you to be one of those statistics up there, not one of the missing. The idea behind TexMesonet is that we're going to have at least one observational point in a county, but it doesn't mean that your county only has to have one. It doesn't mean that. The idea is to have as many that can represent your district, your county, your region. You guys know the rainfall distribution better than anybody. Right? As one of the earlier speakers says, you guys have the data that is needed to make legislation. You know better than anybody else. So you know where we need stations to give you the best representation of rainfall distribution within your district, within your region. And we need your help for that. So we have a standard that says we have these big towers that gives you a representation of about 20 miles. We cannot have no more, those stations cannot be closer than 20 miles. So in some districts, in some counties, you can get 2, 3 of those. The other thing about it is that we have another mandate that says you can have a station that's separated by 11 miles. That means you can have a lot more in between. So in one terminology, we look at it as chicken and hens. Don't really like the phrase, but that's what it is. These big guys and these little guys, and together they give you a big picture. And it's all about seeing the bigger picture. As you can see on that bottom bulletin point, 3 people. 254 counties, Texas. Time. I'm probably going to be an old man by the time I'm finished, but I'll be happy that Texas is done. And at least I have job security. But that's where we at. We right now currently have a staff of 3 that is trying to do this job to cover all of Texas. And we're going to get it done, as long as you guys give us help. It all depends upon you guys. The other side of it is not just we developing TexMesonet to put up all these stations. As I mentioned before, there are already existing stations in Texas. We are also trying to get those stations into a centralized location. Because one of the other things we're trying to do is give you a central repository where you can get the data you need on a near-time basis for the whole of Texas. So you're not getting data just for your GCD, you're getting it for your GCD, the next door GCD, the GMA, you're getting all of Texas. So you can see what your neighbors are doing. That's a good way to put it. Some people don't like that, but I'm hoping that the bigger picture will make everybody want to have that. These are what I'm talking about when I say 20 miles and 11 mile separation. The one on my right, which is the primary sites, you're looking at a 30-foot tower that has a full suite of meteorological equipment. But to you, what you are concerned about is the fact that it measures rainfall, it can monitor wells, if you so choose, and it does give you soil moisture and soil temperature. So every site that we install monitors rainfall, monitors soil temperature and soil moisture, which I think for those regions that do agriculture would love that. And for those regions who have a higher concern over precipitation would love that. The big difference is spacing. We need open space. But I think if you're out in Cook County, Pecos, that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, 26,000 acre ranch, if you can't give up 40 feet by 40 feet, something wrong. I mean, that's all we're asking for. 40 feet by 40 feet with open space. And I mean, at 26,000 acres, I don't think your neighbor is going to be complaining about he's seen a tower. Maybe, if he has binoculars, maybe. So, this is coming on to the end of my presentation. The question is, how can we help you? And the other question is, how can we collaborate? How can we work together? So just to reiterate a lot of what I've said before, how can we help you is giving you a clearinghouse for data. One place where you can go and get all the data you need for your district, for your GMA, for the state of Texas. Right now, there's really no place that you can quickly go to get that data. It's already in place. So as new stations come on board, more data becomes available to you to make proper decisions. The other side of it is not just having that data, is being able to trust that data, is being able to have that data, to have reliable data, meaning that you know that every day that data is going to be coming in, is going to be coming in at a regular time interval that is appropriate for you, and you don't have to question where is that data coming from, who collected it, and is it right? We've done all that work. So all you have to do is use it. You want monthly averages, you just calculate your average. You don't have to do the background, what we call metadata. It's already done. So it's easier for you to make decisions. The other selling point I like is reducing man hours. Most of you, some of you have rain-gauge networks, at least the ones who do have money, have rain-gauge networks. Some of you have networks that are over 20 gauges. Some of you have to manually drive around every month to collect that data. And some of you have to do that to collect your well data. We can reduce that. Well, the data is remotely being collected, and all you have to do is sit behind your computer, pull it out, graph it, put it in a document, submit it to your board. Your board might argue and say, no, you don't have a job, so you might not want to do that. But I think it would help you when it comes to mileage, putting in 6-8 hours in a day, collecting that data. So how can we collaborate? Meaning, how can you help me to help you? Should I say, how can you or how can me help you? Whichever way you want to put it first. Whichever one you think is the higher priority. Which I'm hoping is that you help me so I can help you and not the opposite way around. But what I need mostly from basically every one of you in here is to go back home and find us people who can give us access. So please pretty please, go home, ask your neighbor, ask your board to let us come on their property. And all I need is a small sliver of space in your backyard, in the bush, away from you seeing me. That's all I ask. And in return, you get data that tells you what is the weather conditions in your backyard. Not from the person 20 miles away, not from the person the county over, but in your backyard. I mean, who doesn't like bragging rights? Come on. The other thing that I need is helping you improve your existing network. If you already have gauges, we don't have to come in and replace what you have. What we can do is come in and help you as the meteorologists, as the people with the expertise, come in and help you improve your network. If it means swapping out technology, adding in technology, we can do that. It's not about Big Brother coming in and telling you you're wrong. Oh, everything you've done is wrong. No. We understand that you have expertise that we don't have. So we're just here to help as best as we can. So we really want to collaborate. It's not something coming down from above. It's not something trickling up from below. It's communication. And I think communication gives us the best progress that's possible, because then we talk. So I talk to you, you talk to me, and we move together. So with that, this is where we currently are. I think I'm running out of time. 1 minute, yes. See? Teacher. This is where we are. This is what we look like. I need you guys to help me put up some more colors, especially the blue ones and the yellow ones. So please talk to me. I will be outside by the Texas Water Development booth. I'm open. I'm loving conversations. So talk to me. This is my contact. You will get a PDF. I'm rushing. This is what are some of the capabilities that we were able to do over the weekend. Real-time data. You can see numbers. You can see what's going on. This gets updated every 15 minutes. That's the data that you can get every 15 minutes. And in the future, near future, we're looking at every 5 minutes. So with that, I'm being hushed off the stage. I know you got a next door meeting. So any quick questions? Can they get like a few questions? Yes. Any questions? Speak up or forever hold your peace, as the judges say. Yes.
How close to a power source do you have to be?
We have our own power source.
Okay, so it comes with it.
Yes. We do solar panels. Yes.
I want to compliment you on this. We work with the Water Development Board in Blanco County, and we have one primary site and 3 satellites, and they're working great.
Thank you.
Encourage people to get involved with you guys.
See, advocacy. That's what I like. Who else? Come on. Question, yes. We handle all the costs. You just have to give us site access. Do you want to know the actual number it costs us? It can cost you, let's see, a secondary site can cost you about $8,000 on your own. A primary site can cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000. That doesn't include labor or shipping and handling, none of that. That's just materials. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Communication right now is done via cellular modems. So we deal with the communication issues. We know there are places in Texas where cell coverage is poor. We have methods of bridging that gap. So that is not an issue. What we need is just access. Yes? How much we're budgeted for? That is beyond my pay grade. All I can tell you is give me sites, and I can take that up to the board so they can see there's a demand. That's the best I can tell you. The greater the demand, the more pressure is on management to do something about it. So get me more sites, because they literally have to sign off on every site. So if I can get 100, I'll be happy. Yes. Any other questions? Okay, cool. I guess we're finished. Thank you.